Hello and welcome back to Horoscope TV.
It's great to be back.
If you are tuning in today, you are probably looking for a bit of a signal in all the noise.
There's a lot of noise out there.
There is. So what we do here is we take the entire sky, all the charts, the transits, the planetary movements, and we basically interpret that data to give you something you can, actually use to navigate your life.
Make it practical.
Exactly. And today, we are focusing on one very specific slice of the zodiac. We're looking at the sea goat.
My favorite. So determined.
That is right. We are doing a comprehensive analysis for Capricorn for the week of February 9th all the way through February 15th, 2026.
And I have to say, looking at the astrological data for this specific week, if you're a Capricorn, or, even if you have major Capricorn placements like your moon or rising.
Or a heavy Mars, maybe.
Or even a heavy Mars placement, yes. You might want to grab a notebook.
Okay.
This isn't just a standard check your horoscope kind of week, not at all. The planetary geometry suggests we are looking at a pivotal shift.
Pivotal is a strong word. I mean, we use that a lot when a planet goes retrograde or something, but you seem to be suggesting something a little heavier here.
Oh, yeah.
The data you flagged for me earlier used the phrase tectonic shift. That feels dramatic.
It is dramatic, but it's also accurate. I mean, usually weekly horoscopes, they're about the moon changing signs or Mercury doing something annoying.
Right, the small stuff.
Yeah.
The day-to-day.
Exactly. Those are fleeting. They're the weather. What we're seeing this week for Capricorn is climate change.
Wow. Okay, climate change.
We are talking about a fundamental shift in the structural integrity of a Capricorn's life. The energy moves from, the mundane maintenance of life to something, well, monumental.
Okay, so climate change, not weather. Let's really unpack this.
Yeah.
If we had to put a headline on this week for Capricorn, what's the main event? What is the big story that's just dominating the chart?
The headline is, it's undeniable, really. It's the movement of Saturn.
Okay, Saturn.
As many of our listeners probably know, Saturn is the ruling planet of Capricorn. It's the planet of structure, of discipline, of karma.
Taskmaster.
The taskmaster, exactly. And on February 14th, 2026, Saturn changes signs. It is moving into Aries.
Wow. Okay, so for anyone who might be a little newer to this, why is this the headline? I mean, Saturn moves around, right? Why is this specific move on this specific week so incredibly critical?
Two big reasons. First, as you said, Saturn is your ruling planet.
Right.
In astrology, your ruling planet is kind of like your landlord. It sets the rules of your house. When your landlord moves, your entire life changes.
That's a great analogy.
And Saturn is the planet of adulting. It tells you to eat your vegetables and do your taxes. For the last couple of years, Saturn has been in Pisces.
Pisces. That's a water sign, isn't it? Very dreamy, emotional.
Exactly. And putting Saturn, the planet of structure, in Pisces is like trying to build a brick wall in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, that doesn't sound easy.
It's been a weird, sort of soggy time for Capricorns. It's been really hard to get traction. But on February 14th, Saturn moves into Aries.
And Aries is different.
Completely different. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's cardinal fire. It is the spark of life. It's aggressive. It's initiatory. It's bold. So we are moving from building in the ocean to building with fire.
Okay. That sounds intense.
It is. Yeah. And the second reason this is so huge is that this isn't a quick transit like the moon or Mercury where the influence lasts for maybe a couple of days. Saturn moves slowly, very slowly. This shift marks the beginning of a 2-year cycle.
2 years.
2 years. So when we analyze the charts for this week, we aren't just looking at 7 days, we're looking at the opening chapter of a 2-year narrative.
And what are the themes of this new narrative? If I'm a Capricorn listening right now, what am I walking into?
The major themes that keep coming up in the data are, building foundations, achieving absolute emotional clarity, and a really interesting collision between your career ambitions and your domestic life. It's all about settling down, but we need to really define what that means, because for a Capricorn, it's not just about relaxing.
Right, because Capricorns aren't exactly known for just, kicking back and relaxing.
On the slightest.
So let's get into the specifics of this major transit. You said Saturn enters Aries on February 14th, Valentine's Day.
I know, the irony. Nothing says romance like a 2-year lesson in responsibility.
So where is it landing in the Capricorn chart?
It is entering the 4th house.
The 4th house.
In the architectural blueprint of a birth chart, the 4th house is at the very bottom. It's the 6 o'clock position. It represents your roots, your home, your family, your ancestry, your entire psychological foundation. It is the most private part of your life.
Which is so interesting because Capricorn is usually associated with the complete opposite of that, right? The top of the mountain, career, public image, achievement. That's usually the 10th house.
Exactly. And that is precisely why this is so significant. Saturn, the taskmaster, your ruling planet, is moving into the most private, personal sector of your chart. And it's doing so in the sign of Aries,
The sign of action.
the sign of action and initiation. So you have this heavy structural energy of Saturn entering the active, fiery domain of the home. The universe is basically saying, you cannot build your skyscraper any higher if the foundation is cracking.
Wow.
This transit is essentially a mandatory structural inspection of the Capricorn soul.
Mandatory structural inspection. That sounds intense. So what does that look like in real everyday life? If this is a 2-year cycle starting this week, what should a Capricorn expect?
Well, when we analyze the implications, we see this really strong drive toward settling down in the deepest sense.
Okay.
The data suggests some very concrete manifestations of this. For many Capricorns, this is the classic aspect for buying a house.
Ah, okay. The literal foundation.
The most literal foundation. It represents a real desire to own land, to establish a physical fortress.
A fortress. I like that word. It feels very Capricorn. Not just a house, but a stronghold.
It absolutely is. With Saturn and Aries in the 4th, there's this drive to own your own patch of earth, to buy a home, or maybe to renovate an existing space to make it more secure, more yours.
Right.
And Aries adds this layer of action to it. This isn't just you sitting on the couch browsing Zillow. This is tearing down walls, fixing the roof, securing the perimeter.
It feels very primal, almost like this is my patch of earth and I'm going to defend it.
It is, but it also goes beyond just real estate. This transit often coincides with starting a family or maybe expanding the family unit.
Okay.
It creates a sense of duty toward the home. For some, it might mean taking on more responsibility for parents or for elders in the family. The 4th house rules our ancestry and our roots, after all. Saturn here says, I am now the responsible party. I am the anchor of this lineage.
That feels heavy, though. Does it feel like a burden?
It can feel weighty, yes. Saturn always brings weight. But for Capricorn, weight is often comforting. It feels like purpose. The core theme here is building a foundation. You know, we always talk about Capricorns building empires in their careers.
Right. The CEO of the zodiac.
But you cannot build a skyscraper on a swamp. You need bedrock. This 2-year cycle is all about pouring the concrete for that bedrock. It's about stabilizing your life so that you can sustain the incredible success you're chasing.
And the forecast says you are ready for this chapter.
Mm.
That's encouraging. It's not something that's being forced upon them. It's something they've actually grown into.
Precisely. The astrological data suggests a maturity level that's peaking right now. They aren't afraid of the commitment. In fact, they're actively seeking it.
Now, before this massive shift on the 14th, there's another planetary movement earlier in the week that seems to set the stage. The moon enters Capricorn on February 12th.
It does.
How does that play into all of this?
This is just a beautiful piece of cosmic timing, really. Just 2 days before the heavy lifting of Saturn begins, the moon enters your own sign. When the moon is in your first house, your sign, it brings emotional clarity. It's like a spotlight turning on inside your head.
You know, we usually hear about the moon being in its detriment in Capricorn. The idea that it's not super comfortable there because the moon wants to be soft and emotional and Capricorn wants to be hard.
That's the textbook definition, yes.
But you're saying this is actually a good thing right now.
In this specific context, absolutely yes. Because we are facing a massive structural change with Saturn, we don't need a soft, weepy, emotional moon.
Right. You need to be clear-headed.
We need a stoic, clear-headed moon. The moon in Capricorn on the 12th just clears all the fog. It perfectly aligns your emotions with your ego, with your sense of self.
So it cuts through the confusion.
Completely.
Yeah.
I mean, often before a big life change like signing a mortgage or deciding to have a baby, you get cold feet. You get the what ifs.
Oh, for sure.
This lunar transit, it kind of suppresses the what ifs and it amplifies the I will. It provides a very potent sense of control.
And control is a Capricorn's favorite thing.
It is their love language, essentially. This transit aligns your emotional state with your core identity. You just feel like yourself. You feel grounded. The vibe is very much, I know who I am, and I know what I need to do.
What a gift.
It really is. It's a gift from the universe to have this moment of pure self-assurance right before the tectonic plates start to shift with Saturn.
That is really reassuring. So you have this internal clarity, and then the external structure shifts.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really powerful combination.
Incredibly powerful.
Let's pivot a bit to something that usually balances out all this heavy stuff. Love and romance. What is happening in the heart department for Capricorn this week?
It is a fascinating week for love, really, because we have these conflicting energies, which actually makes for a very dynamic story.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
On one hand, we have Venus. On February 10th, Venus enters your third house.
The third house. Refresh my memory. That's communication, right?
Yes, communication, the mind, siblings, and your local environment. It's the house of chat. When Venus, the planet of love and duty, enters this house, it makes the Capricorn incredibly charming and articulate.
So the strong, silent type stereotype is kind of out the window this week.
For this week, yes, absolutely. The data shows that communication is the key to romance. You are not going to win anyone over by just standing there looking stoic.
You have to talk.
You have to use your words. The forecast specifically favors things like love notes, texts, long emails, deep conversations.
I love that. Talk your way into anyone's heart. That's a great line from the data.
It is effectively a superpower this week. If there is someone you've been eyeing, or if you're in a relationship that has felt a bit stagnant, the advice is to just start talking.
Just open your mouth.
Send the witty text. Write the thoughtful email. Engage in a fun debate. The mental connection is the aphrodisiac this week. It's a very Cyrano de Bergerac kind of energy. You are charming people with your intellect.
And what about for the singles out there?
Because the third house rules the local neighborhood, the data really suggests looking for love close to home.
Oh, interesting.
It's not about long-distance romance or exotic travel this week. It's the coffee shop around the corner, the library, the community center. Love is immediate and local.
Okay, so Venus is making everyone chatty and charming and looking for love at the local farmer's market.
Exactly.
But you mentioned a conflict. How does this light, flirty energy mesh with that heavy Saturn energy we just spent 10 minutes talking about?
Here is where it gets really, really interesting. This is the so what factor.
Okay.
You have Venus saying, let's flirt, let's chat, let's have fun in the neighborhood. But simultaneously, Saturn is moving into the home sector saying, I'm building a fortress for the next 30 years.
I see it now. So there's a major tension between lighthearted flirtation and like serious long-term intent.
Exactly. While you can charm anyone right now, your internal filter is set to Saturn.
So you're filtering everything through this new lens.
Everything.
Yeah.
You might find yourself having a great, witty conversation with someone, but in the back of your mind, a voice is asking, does this person fit into my long-term domestic plans? Will they be a good co-pilot for this empire I'm building?
So the standard is higher, much higher.
The standard is incredibly high. There is a zero-tolerance policy for drama.
Oh, I believe that.
The forecast explicitly says you are not interested in anyone who disrupts your peace. If someone is fun but chaotic, the Capricorn is going to just shut that down immediately. They are looking for a partner who makes sense on paper and in practice.
That is a very distinct vibe. I will charm you, but you better have your life together.
That's it, in a nutshell.
Now, are there any red flags this week in love? Any specific days to watch out for?
Yes, and it lands right at the end of the week on February 15th.
Sunday.
On the 15th, Venus squares Lilith.
Lilith. We don't talk about her enough. This is the Black Moon Lilith, right? The archetype of the exile.
It is. It represents the untamed, the wild, and sometimes the repressed parts of ourselves. When Venus, the planet of harmony, makes a hard 90-degree angle, a square to Lilith, misunderstandings happen very easily.
How so?
You might say something you think is witty and charming because of that Venus in the third house energy, but it just lands wrong.
Oh, no.
It might be interpreted as offensive or dismissive. Sarcasm is particularly dangerous on the 15th.
So what is the advice for that day? Just keep your mouth shut.
Not necessarily. The advice is to be hyper clear.
Okay.
Do not rely on subtext. Do not assume the other person understands your humor or your nuance. Articulate exactly what you mean. If you like someone, say, I like you. If you are upset, say, I am upset about this. Ambiguity is the enemy on February 15th. Clear is kind.
Clear communication to combat the chaos. Got it. Now, moving from the heart to the hustle. Work and career.
Yes.
For Capricorn, this is usually the main event, but you hinted earlier that the focus is shifting.
The career is always the engine for Capricorn. That never changes. But the context of the career is shifting. The headline here is, the empire starts at home.
Which ties right back to that fourth house transit.
Precisely. We are seeing a balancing act. Usually, Capricorn can get tunnel vision on work at the expense of everything else. This week, the stars are forcing a merger between work and home.
Right.
Saturn in the fourth house strongly suggests that the work might actually move into the home.
So we're talking working from home, remote work, or maybe even starting a home-based business.
All of those are very likely scenarios. Or it could manifest as family issues distracting from professional goals.
Ah.
You might be on a big conference call while simultaneously dealing with a plumbing emergency or a family member who needs your care. The universe is trying to teach the Capricorn that they cannot compartmentalize as easily as they used to.
That sounds incredibly stressful. How does one manage that?
Boundaries. The expert advice here is about strict separation. If you are working from home, you need a door that closes. You need specific hours. You need to be firm. Saturn demands discipline, and if you don't set those boundaries, the domestic sphere will swallow the professional sphere, or vice versa.
You have to treat the home office like a separate sovereign nation.
That's the perfect way to phrase it. Diplomatic immunity.
Is there any good news for career growth amidst all this juggling?
Oh, absolutely. There is a very, very powerful aspect on February 12th.
The same day the moon moves into Capricorn.
The very same day, we have Mercury conjunct the North Node.
The North Node. That usually points to destiny or our future path, doesn't it?
Yes, it's the true north of your soul's compass. It's where you're headed. When Mercury, the planet of the mind and commerce, aligns perfectly with the North Node, it creates a kind of portal for intellectual growth and forward momentum.
So a good time to learn things.
A massive opening for learning new skills. If there is a certification you've been putting off or a new software you need to learn for your job, do it this week. Your brain is a sponge.
What about contracts or big decisions?
It is a phenomenal time for signing contracts. Your mind is incredibly sharp. You are seeing the future clearly. But the strategy here should be long-term.
Right.
Don't just plan for next week. Plan for where you want to be in 5 years. The North Node is all about the long game. You are building the empire, remember.
Right.
Empires aren't built on day trading. They are built on decades of strategy.
So use the mental sharpness from Mercury to navigate the big structural changes that Saturn is bringing. You are building an empire, but it starts with a strong base at home. That really does encapsulate it.
It does. The message is crystal clear.
Yeah.
You cannot advance professionally if your personal life is in shambles. Fix the base, and the tower will rise.
Let's talk about the resources needed to build that tower. Money and finance. What's the outlook there?
The general status is steady. We aren't seeing wild fluctuations or, unexpected windfalls, which honestly Capricorns usually prefer.
We like predictability.
They love predictability. But there is a very noticeable shift in thinking when it comes to money.
How so?
The focus is moving toward big investments rather than small, frivolous spending.
Again, Saturn in the fourth house.
Exactly. This is the classic astrological signature for investing in land, buying property, or funding a major home renovation.
It's not about buying a new pair of shoes. It's about buying the closet to put them in.
Or building the house that contains the closet. Exactly. But because Saturn is also a planet of restriction, or maybe better put, conservation, there is also an urge to be tighter with daily spending.
Yeah.
The data suggests you might feel a sudden need to budget more aggressively to track every penny.
Can you think that is a wise move right now?
It is extremely wise. If you are preparing for a massive investment like a home, you need liquidity. You need savings. Saturn is helping you trim the fat from your budget so you can feed the foundation.
But we also have Venus in that chatty third house. Does that trigger any kind of spending?
It does, but in a very specific category. Venus in the third house favors spending on education.
Like books, courses.
Books, courses, workshops, even short trips that expand the mind, anything that feeds your intellect.
So buying a course on how to invest in real estate would be the perfect analysis of these two energies working together.
That would be the ultimate Capricorn move this week. Yes. The criterion for spending is really simple. Does it add tangible value to my life and my future?
Right.
If the answer is yes, buy it. If it's just for pleasure or for status, skip it.
Is there a warning day for finances, a day to be extra careful?
Yes, and it's the same as the love warning. February 15th.
That's Sunday again.
That Venus-Lilith square.
Impulse control can really waver. You might be tempted to buy something purely out of an emotional reaction or frustration. That whole, I had a bad day, I feel unappreciated, I'm going to buy this expensive thing to fill the void feeling.
We've all been there, so hide the credit card on the 15th.
Or just institute a strict 24-hour waiting period before clicking buy.
Yeah.
Patience will absolutely pay off. Okay, that makes sense. Moving on to health and wellness. When we talk about Saturn, we usually talk about bones and structure. What should Capricorns be looking out for physically?
You hit the nail right on the head. Saturn rules the skin, the teeth, and the joints. Basically, the boundaries and the structure of the body. With this new heavy transit of Saturn moving into fiery Aries, the stress of that shift can manifest somatically.
So you literally feel the weight of it in your body.
Yes.
So we're talking stiffness.
Stiffness, yes, particularly in the joints or the lower back. The psychological weight of taking on more responsibility often shows up as a tight lower back or stiff shoulders. The body really does keep the score.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
So what's the remedy? High-intensity interval training, CrossFit, something really aggressive to match that Aries energy.
Absolutely not, no. That's too much impact on what is already a rigid structure.
Yeah.
You need to counteract Saturn's rigidity with flexibility. The data strongly, strongly recommends yoga or Pilates, anything that lengthens the muscles and creates space in the body. You don't need high-impact cardio this week, nearly as much as you need deep, sustained stretching. You need to oil the Tin Man, basically.
And what about emotionally? We mentioned the moon in Capricorn midweek.
Yes, on Wednesday and Thursday, you might be much more sensitive than you look.
Yeah.
Capricorns are absolute masters of the poker face.
Oh, yeah.
They can be crumbling inside and look totally composed on the outside, but the moon here makes the skin just a little bit thinner.
The forecast mentions not bottling up feelings.
That is critical. The danger with Saturn entering the home sector is that you might try to manage your feelings like they're a project rather than actually feeling them.
Right, put them in a spreadsheet.
Exactly. The remedy is to talk to a friend, use that Venus in the third house energy, or write in a journal, get it out.
And the environment plays a role in this too, right?
Yeah. A huge role. Making your home a sanctuary is absolutely essential for your well-being this week. If your home is chaotic, your health will suffer, period. You need a space where you can truly unmask and relax. This is why that urge to clean or renovate is so tied to your health right now.
I love that connection. Okay, let's do a quick vibe check. We always like to look at the aesthetics and the luck factors for the week. What color should Capricorns be gravitating toward?
The color of the week is charcoal gray.
Charcoal gray.
Specifically, the color code is #36454F if you want to get really technical.
Wow, okay. Charcoal gray. That feels very serious.
It is serious, but it's also foundational. It's neutral. It's strong. It's sophisticated.
It's not quite black.
No, not quite black, which can be harsh. It has a bit more nuance. It fits the energy of building a structure. It's the color of concrete, of stone, of business suits. It commands respect without screaming for attention.
I like that. And lucky numbers.
We are looking at 4, 8, 10, 22, 40, and 52.
A lot of even numbers in there. Very structured.
Very even, very divisible. Stable numbers. You've got 10 for Capricorn, 8 for Saturn, 4 for the fourth house. It is all very mathematical and grounded.
And the best days to make your big moves.
February 12th and February 13th. That's your Wednesday and Thursday. These align perfectly with that moon in Capricorn and the Mercury North Node conjunction. Those are your power days for clarity and for signing contracts.
Perfect. All right, let's wrap up with compatibility. Who is the best person for a Capricorn to team up with this week? Who's their ally?
The best match, by far, is Virgo.
Another Earth sign. That makes sense.
It does. Virgo is the perfect partner in crime right now. As fellow Earth signs, you just share a practical language. You get each other without a lot of fuss.
So how do they help?
While Capricorn is dealing with the heavy lifting of the Saturn shift, the big picture, the macro vision Virgo is there to organize all the details.
So Capricorn says, I'm buying a house. And Virgo says, okay, here's the inspection checklist, the moving schedule, and a spreadsheet of potential mortgage lenders.
That is exactly the dynamic. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and since Mercury is so active this week with the North Node, Virgo is just on fire. They are supportive, reliable, and incredibly efficient.
And there's an ease to it.
And crucially, you don't have to explain yourself to them. They just get it. Their analytical mind perfectly complements your strategic planning. It's a relationship built on mutual respect and getting things done.
Okay, so lean on your Virgo friends.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, who should they maybe avoid this week?
The forecast suggests avoiding Libra.
Interesting. Why Libra? They're usually so agreeable.
And that's the problem. It's the friction point of indecision versus determination.
Ah.
Libra is an air sign, and they're focused on social niceties, on balance, on weighing every single option. Capricorn right now is dealing with serious, life-altering changes and needs to make executive decisions now.
So Libra's tendency to waffle is going to be incredibly annoying.
Incredibly annoying. To a Capricorn this week, Libras need to please everyone, and see all sides will just seem fake or weak. And astrologically, Saturn naturally squares the signs of Capricorn and Libra, so there is friction there anyway. But right now, Capricorn simply does not have the time or the patience for hesitation.
The vibe is, I don't have time for your charm. I need substance.
Precisely. Libra's charm will feel superficial when Capricorn is digging for deep, solid foundations. The advice is to just take a break from important collaborative projects with Libras for this specific week. It'll save everyone a headache.
Okay, that is a lot to take in, but it's so clear.
Yeah.
Let's recap the mission for the week for any Capricorn listening.
The mission is really threefold. First, embrace the shift of Saturn into your home sector. Start building that foundation, whatever that means for you.
Okay, number one.
Second, set strict, clear boundaries between your work and your home to protect your sanity and your energy.
Crucial. And third.
And third, use your words. That Venus is a gift. Speak your heart clearly and directly to get what you want in love and in life.
It really feels like a week of growing up, even for the sign that is already considered the adult of the zodiac.
It's a graduation of sorts. You are moving from achieving for the world to achieving for yourself, for your peace, and for your legacy.
A final thought for our listeners. Something for them to carry through the week.
I would say this. Think about the concept of home, not just as a place you sleep, but as the launch pad for your entire life. This week, you are inspecting that launch pad. If it's cracked, you have to fix it, because the next 2 years are going to be about launching something massive, and you absolutely need that ground to be solid beneath your feet.
That is a really powerful image to end on. Thank you so much for breaking down this pivotal week for us.
My pleasure. It is going to be an exciting time for the Sea Goats. A lot of hard work, but so much reward.
And thank you to everyone listening to this episode of Horoscope TV. We hope this gives you the clarity you need to navigate the week ahead. If you found this helpful, please subscribe so you can get notified when the next episode is available.
We'd love to have you back.
Until then, keep looking up.